When I bought that house by myself, when I wrote that check for $217,000, y'all, that shit hurt me, y'all. That shit hurts.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the latest and wildest celebrity news. And today, we've got a breakup that's making waves all over social media, Amy Luciani and Mazi. Now, if you've been following them, you probably already know these two are a powerhouse couple on YouTube, pulling in hundreds of thousands of subscribers with their pranks, vlogs, and all that cute couple content. But behind the scenes, it wasn't so picture perfect. Amy paced back and forth in her small apartment, her heart pounding so hard she could almost hear it. The truth was right there, staring her in the face, refusing to let go. Mazi had been acting strange for weeks. Those late-night texts that used to make her smile now felt distant, almost businesslike. Their once fiery conversations had cooled into stiff, awkward exchanges. Something was off, and she could feel it deep in her gut. Just as her thoughts began to spiral, her phone buzzed. She froze, then hesitantly picked it up. Her stomach flipped when she saw the name. It was a text from her best friend, Lily. "Girl, did you hear? Mazi's been seen with someone new. I can't believe he'd do that to you." A wave of nausea hit Amy. She had known deep down. For weeks, she'd felt it. The late-night outings, the hushed conversations, the way Mazi tensed up every time she mentioned their future. It had all been right in front of her. Taking a deep breath, she steeled herself. It was time to lay everything on the table. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen as she typed, "We need to talk." Mazi replied almost instantly, "Can we do it later? I'm really busy right now." But she wasn't having it. "No, now, I know what's going on." The silence that followed was thick, like the calm before a storm. Moments later, the door creaked open, and there was Mazi looking sheepish, guilt written all over his face. He closed the door slowly, like he was bracing for the confrontation. "Amy, let's not jump to conclusions," he began, trying to sound smooth, but she wasn't buying it. "Jump to conclusions. Mazi, I've seen the photos. You really thought I wouldn't find out you were with someone else?" His expression shifted from defensive to guilty, and for a moment, he looked like a child caught in the act. "It's not what you think," he muttered.
I don't care what y'all saw. I don't know if y'all noticed. Since we bought that house, y'all, I don't know if y'all noticed, I ain't been doing YouTube.
"Then tell me what it is, because it sure looks like you're in a whole relationship. And guess what? I'm not a part of it." Her voice rose, frustration boiling over. Mazi ran his hand through his hair, the weight of his secret thick in the room. "I didn't want you to find out this way," he mumbled. "Oh, you didn't want me to find out? Or you just didn't want to tell me that you've got a baby on the way with her?" The words cut like a knife, sharp and unfiltered. Mazi froze, eyes wide, as if he'd just been slapped. "How did you know?" he whispered, shock plastered all over his face. Amy let out a bitter laugh. "You really think I'm that blind? I've seen the post, Mazi, the baby shower, those cozy pictures of you two. You've been lying, playing me for a fool. You've got a whole new life, and what was I? Just some placeholder." Her voice cracked, a mix of anger and deep hurt rising to the surface. "It wasn't like that, I swear," Mazi stammered, desperation creeping into his voice. "I didn't plan for this, it just happened," he tried to explain, grasping to hold on to whatever was left.
Because I was angry inside about how that shit played out. I was so angry about how all that shit played out. I really was. I was so fucking pissed the fuck off. I was like, I can't fucking believe this shit. I can't believe I'm doing this. But he kept on telling me like,
"And what was I? Just a convenient backup for when things got messy, when you decided to play house with someone else." Amy's voice trembled with anger. Mazi stepped closer, his eyes wide with panic. "I never meant to hurt you, Amy. You've got to believe me," he pleaded. She yanked her hand back, her fury bubbling over. "You think time is going to fix this? You can't just ask for another chance and expect everything to disappear. Amy, please," he begged, his voice heavy with emotion. "Let's talk about this. I still care about you." "Care?" she shot back, her voice sharp and filled with pain. "You think care is enough? You shattered my trust into a million pieces, and now you expect me to act like everything's just fine." Mazi stood there, defeated, his shoulders slumping under the weight of his mistakes, realizing just how deep of a hole he had dug. "I know I messed up," he said, his voice shaking. "I'll always care for you, but I have to take responsibility now." Amy's heart broke even more at seeing his pain. but she refused to soften. Responsibility. You think I want to be with someone who can't even be honest with me? This isn't about me. It's about you owning up to what you've done. She stepped back, the distance between them growing like a canyon that neither could cross anymore. Goodbye, Mazy. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. Mazy's eyes widened, like her words had slapped him. I mean, wait. We can fix this. I can explain everything. Panic crept into his voice, but she shook her head, tears threatening to spill over. No, you've already made your choice. You chose her. And that baby, what do I have left? She said, her voice breaking.
And things gonna get better. Trust me, things gonna get better. Things gonna get better. I'm finna do this. I'm gonna give you this back. I'm gonna give you half of that back. I'm gonna give you this half back. And being with somebody for 5 years, yes, naturally, yeah, I know y'all might be like, you a dummy. You're a dummy. You thought he was gonna listen. Yes, the fuck I did. Yes. So again, I feel like y'all ain't got to tell me I took an L. I know I took an L.
He begged, his voice cracking with desperation, pouring out his regret. I didn't mean for it to end like this. I thought I could keep everything together. I thought you wouldn't find out, Mazy whispered, his tone heavy with remorse. Amy's heart tightened as she heard the desperation in his voice, but she couldn't let herself give in, not this time. Well, you thought wrong, Mazy. You made your bed, now you've got to lie in it. She turned and headed for the door, her mind a whirlwind of emotions, anger, sadness, betrayal. Yet amidst the storm, there was a flicker of something else, relief. This wasn't just about heartbreak anymore, it was about reclaiming control over her life. As she stepped outside, the cool air hit her face, grounding her. The door shut behind her with a firm thud, the sound echoing in her heart, sealing that chapter for good. Amy took a deep breath, feeling the weight begin to lift, just a little. She was free from the lies, the betrayal, and all the confusion. Amy strode down the street, each step clearing her mind. She knew she would heal. She knew she'd find herself again, stronger, better. And as she moved forward, it dawned on her, sometimes love just isn't enough to mend broken trust. It was time to let go, time to embrace whatever the future had in store, even if it looked uncertain now. I had planned to get into this messy situation a while ago, but honestly, it feels like he's the real messenger here. So let's dive into it. We're talking about Amy and Mazy. Some of y'all might know them, some might not. They had close to 400,000 subscribers on YouTube, doing the usual couple thing, pranks, vlogs, and all that typical content, but people loved it. I first came across them through their vlogs, you know, the ones with all the funny stuff they posted on Instagram. And let me tell you, Amy always stood out to me. She was stunning. But then, I found out they're not together anymore, and things definitely got messy. There are some real lessons we can take from all this, though. Amy went straight to social media, and she didn't hold back. She posted a bunch of those text messages. Oh yeah, we're definitely about to dive into all that drama, but first, let's take a look at the caption, and then we'll dig into the back and forth that just kept getting messier. So, Amy actually went live on Instagram around May 1st, where she broke down, being really open and vulnerable about how the breakup was affecting her. Naturally, people quickly started piecing things together, realizing they weren't together anymore. But of course, after that, folks started coming for her, criticizing her for putting her feelings out there, which was just wild. She wasn't having any of it, though. Amy clapped back hard, blocking people left and right, telling them to stay in their lane and mind their business. While she didn't dive too deep into the reasons behind their breakup, Mazy wasted no time hopping onto their shared YouTube channel to spill his side. But instead of offering any real clarity, he seemed more focused on promoting his OnlyFans, basically saying that if people wanted the real tea on what went down, they'd have to subscribe. After that, he dropped a bunch of vague videos on their old channel, briefly touching on their split while continuing to push his OnlyFans. You can probably guess how that set Amy off. She wasn't just going to sit there and let him play these games. So, she made her own video addressing it, but not before sharing a message alongside their text exchanges. Honestly, I totally get where she's coming from. She said, as you read these texts, you'll see that I wished him well and never wanted us to be enemies. I kept quiet, but I left him 2 weeks ago and didn't want to involve anyone else. Then, she found out he was spilling the tea about their breakup for profit on OnlyFans. For those of you who might not be familiar with this couple, just picture two YouTubers calling it quits, and the way he's acting makes me completely side with her. She also dropped a bombshell that he had changed the password to their YouTube channel, locking her out like it was his own personal playground. He tried to brush it off, claiming he created the page before they even met. But in another video, he said they had started it together, which just makes things even more confusing, right? Amy, though, decided she wasn't going to fight him over the channel, simply stating, "God is good, and life goes on." She felt like she just couldn't keep being in that relationship any longer, where Amy had to step up and watch his 3 baby mamas grind it out while he was busy chasing a music career. She really had high hopes that he'd turn things around and start getting his life together. But eventually, she came to the tough realization that it just wasn't going to happen. Amy made it clear that she loved his kids and respected their mothers, recognizing that they all deserved better than the situation they were stuck in. She even apologized if anyone thought she was out here living her best life while they were still in need of support, saying that many of their arguments were about the kids. She was real about it, admitting her own karma would catch up with her, stating, "I couldn't keep pretending I was happy while I was so in love." It was raw. She expressed her frustration about not seeing any growth in him after 4 years together, saying, "God won't bless me if I'm attached to this mess," and honestly, you could feel the weight behind her words. She knew she had to break free in order to find her own blessings. When Amy listened to his video, he had the audacity to claim her success had changed her and even called her out for not financially supporting him. I mean, come on, if he's the one who supposedly created the channel, why wasn't he hustling to build his own career instead of relying on her? Amy also brought up that they had appeared on a show together where he had signed a blank piece of paper for their house because he didn't have the credit or the funds to back it up. Now, that's seriously giving off some major coattail vibes, don't you think? I've got to give her credit for recognizing her worth and making that hard choice to move on. It's honestly crazy that after 4 years together, he never took the time to work on his credit or face his responsibilities. A lot of people think women should just sit tight and wait for their partners to figure things out, but let's be honest, that's not a fair expectation at all. Amy really showed some serious strength in coming to the conclusion that the relationship wasn't going to work. In her message, she reflected on how this was her first public relationship and breakup, admitting, "There's no right way to handle this. I protected him to the point of neglecting myself, but that's over. I truly admire the maturity she's showing through all of this. Despite everything that went down, she's not out here being spiteful. She still wishes him well and holds on to hope for him. But that whole changing the YouTube channel's password, that speaks volumes. No matter who created the channel first, it blew up because of their partnership. For him to claim it as his own now is just plain disappointing." In the end, Amy made the tough decision to walk away from the relationship for good. She said goodbye not just to Mazy, but to all the drama, lies, and betrayal that came with him. She's focused on healing, growing, and moving forward with her life. Amy's story is a powerful reminder that sometimes love just isn't enough. You can't build a future with someone who's stuck in the past, and you certainly can't thrive in a relationship that's built on lies. Amy chose herself, and that's something we should all applaud. So, what do you all think about Amy and Mazy's messy breakup? Do you think Mazy will ever own up to his mistakes? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tea on your favorite celebrity dramas. Until next time, stay blessed.